Welcome to KetoMealsAndRecipes.com. Today's video will demonstrate how to make an incredibly easy slow cooker beef pot roast and also how to make a rich gravy from the juices. The macronutrient ratio for this beef pot roast and the total quantity of gravy is 1.7 to 1, with a total carb value of 3.8 grams per serving, of which 1.7 grams is a combination of soluble and insoluble fiber, and this is based on a 140 gram or 5 ounce serving of beef. We begin with the ingredients that need to be prepared before they're placed into the slow cooker. Slice and then chop the onions into small pieces because you want them to dissolve in the gravy. Dice your celery into small pieces and mince your garlic. I have chosen to use baby carrots because it's less work, but you can use a full carrot. But first peel it and then cut it into 2-inch pieces. You want larger pieces because you do not want your carrot to dissolve in the gravy. Before starting, also have your other ingredients ready. It's important to first pat dry your roast and your work surface so that the salt and pepper will stick to it when you season it. After preparing the vegetables, we begin by making what in Italy is called the soffritto. You might remember it from the keto bolognese. Or in France, this mix of vegetables is also called a mirepoix. Then pre-season all sides of your roast very generously with the salt and pepper. This will make the roast much more flavorful. Preheat your deep-sided frying pan on high heat. When the pan is hot, add the oil, and when the oil just begins to smoke, place the roast into the pan. Sear the roast until it has a crisp brown surface. Do not turn the meat until it is well seared on that side. You will know when to turn the roast because the surface of the meat will release easily and not stick. If it's sticking, let it sear a little bit longer on that side. How long it takes to sear on each side will depend on how hot your heat is. But as a guide, consider about 2 or 3 minutes per side. Searing helps to enhance the flavor of the meat, and if you do not pre-sear the roast, the end meat will look gray and more like a bland boiled piece of meat. This bit of extra effort will result in a far superior slow cooker roast, one that will taste better and also look much better. So please do not skip this step. When you have seared all the sides, remove the meat and set aside. Then reduce the heat on your stovetop to medium in order to make the soffritto or mirepoix. To the drippings in the pan, add the carrots, either your baby carrots or your chopped carrots, and saute for about 1 minute. Push the carrots to the perimeter of the pan and add the celery. Saute for 1 minute. Add the diced onion, toss a bit, and then place the grated garlic on top of the onions. I do this so that the garlic will not burn and stick to the bottom of the pan. Saute for 1 minute. Then add your beef stock and the dry red wine. The 2 bay leaves, leave them whole, the dried thyme, and stir all together. Increase the heat to high, and when it comes to a boil, simmer for about 5 minutes. This will help to de-alcoholize the wine and just leave a great flavor. Then turn off the heat. Here I'd like to share a word about slow cookers. First, you don't need an expensive brand name. I have found that I only use my slow cooker on its basic setting of low or high and adjust the time as I need it. The same functions are available on a well-rated, inexpensive device. I also prefer a pot that has a ceramic liner rather than the metal as mine does. The ceramic is easier to clean. Now back to the recipe. Ladle about half of the vegetables and liquid you prepared on the stovetop into the bottom of the slow cooker. Then place the braised roast into the center. Pour the remaining juice that is in your bowl on top of the roast. Ladle the rest of the liquid on top of the roast to marinate it, and place the rest of the vegetables on top. These will add flavor. If you don't think you have the time to do the preparation in the morning, you can do everything up to and including adding the last bit of vegetable and liquid the night before. Just cover the liner with cling wrap and refrigerate. In the morning, take the liner out of the refrigerator and place it on your counter. Try to take the liner out of the fridge as soon as you get up to allow the meat as much time to get back to the room temperature before setting the timer. It would be ideal if you could leave it out for about an hour. Just before you leave your house, set the slow cooker timer to low and adjust the time to 6 or 8 hours. How long you leave it depends on when you'll get home and when you want the meal done by. When you get back and the time is up, remove the roast from the slow cooker, placing it into a dish that will collect the juices if they leak, and let the meat rest. The resting process helps the juices to reabsorb, which will make the meat more tender. At the same time, the meat will firm up a bit, which makes it much easier to cut. To make the gravy, remove about 1 to 2 cups of the liquid, and while stirring, add 1 tablespoon of glucomannan powder. Stir until the glucomannan is well incorporated, then pour this mixture into the remaining liquid in the crock pot, and stir right away to combine. If you're going to make the gravy in the crock pot, cook until you have the desired consistency for your gravy. When you're done your gravy, you'll find that you have much more gravy than you need for this size roast. I usually serve about half a cup of gravy over the meat per person, unless the person asks for more, which of course they can have. This makes for a great meal for a dinner party or makes multiple meals over the week. One of the things we do is make a lettuce roast beef wrap for the next day for lunch. Or the next day we serve it with cauli rice and roasted spring vegetables. As I said, you're going to have a lot more gravy than you really need, but that's a good thing. Any gravy that you still have left over, put it into a good airtight container and freeze it for other uses. This evening I served the roast with a mixed green salad with olive oil and a sherry vinegar. We were celebrating a family member's birthday, so we had to make another cake. The naked vanilla sponge cake with a new frosting I will be sharing with you in the near future. Adding a well-chosen dessert will greatly enhance the good fats, help your overall macro ratio for the meal. So this gives you a good reason why you should have an end of meal treat. Enjoy! Thank you so much for watching this video. See you next time. Please go to the description below for the link to my blog where you can get the written recipe.